Before we get started with this episode, I just want to point out that Zach usually brings in drinks to keep himself hydrated throughout the course of the show, whether it's alcohol. Of course, we're recording on a Sunday morning, which means that
bottles of water.
Yeah, it's a big bottle of water and some energy drink. Meanwhile, I left my coffee at home on the counter, which I am extremely disappointed in because I'd only had one this morning. But I made a joke in the last recording that I had done that and left my coffee at home. Zach was kind enough to pull out a drink for me. It's a little 6-ounce Capri Sun, and
it's a normal size Capri Sun.
I'm gonna shoot it through this tiny straw as quickly as I can for your entertainment.
The seal on that? Oh, so he's pounding it through the tiniest WD-40 size straw. He's destroying it. So check this out. Blow into it. The seal between the straw and that bag is intense, isn't it? It's impressive.
Yeah.
NASA should do something with that. Like,
oh, yeah.
You can't. It doesn't blow air out. You cannot like blow air out of that. It's fucking insane.
So shout out to Capri Sun for having absolutely one of the strongest seals on a micro straw.
And while we're playing Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty,
that's what you're drinking. You're pounding some Capri Suns. Totally makes sense why you're always like on target and
just jacked up on sugar.
Now we know. That's the secret. If you check out our Twitch and you see Zach is just destroying things, just know he's going through a 24-pack of Capri Suns.
Gamer Fuel? No. Give me that fruit punch Capri Sun.
There is a thing called Gamer Fuel, isn't there?
G Fuel, Gamer Fuel, Mountain Dew, Gamer Fuel.
Oh shit! Didn't even occur to me.
It's the athletic esports part of
for sitting on your ass and
it's so fucking stupid.
It's ridiculous.
Whatever happened to having fun? Why did you have to do this?
This episode of the All About Nothing podcast is brought to you by GOT Sound Studio. GOT Sound Studio offers a variety of experiences: music, voice and instrumental recording and production, video and still photography. GOT Sound Studio has all of your media needs met. Owned and operated by Dominique Stewart, the Neek the Geek, experienced artists as well as up-and-coming will find everything they need to create. Bring your media needs to one of the most talented producers and engineers in the business, Neek the Geek. You can find details by visiting gotsoundstudio.com or calling 803-243-2302. You can also find links in the Friends of the Pod section of our website. Visit theallaboutnothing.com.
Recorded live from the Maddie Johnson podcast studio at GOT Sound Studio in Columbia, South Carolina. This is the All About Nothing podcast. The views expressed on this program are the opinions of the host. Some content and subject matter may not be appropriate. Listener discretion is advised. Listeners are encouraged to follow the show at theallaboutnothing.com for links to social media and more. Listeners can call the show at 803-672-0533. Thank you for listening.
All right, welcome to another episode of the All About Nothing podcast. This is going to be an episode that is a shorts episode. I guess this is like number 17 or 16 or 99. Who knows?
Oh, it's over 20 now.
We are sans Trent this morning because it is a Sunday morning. And as everyone in Columbia should know, Trent is actually working at the brunch at the main course, the drag show on Sunday morning. So if you're not of that knowledge, then yeah, you should be. Because we talk about it, I think, often enough.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're enjoying their mimosas and shows. And
yeah.
I'm there in spirit. I have just an orange energy drink, so kind of mimosa. It's half a mimosa.
So in order to be in spirit, do you have to have a drink in your hand? Because I left my coffee sitting on the counter.
Hold on, I got you something.
Oh, sweet, yeah. So so this episode is going to be a short episode. We're not going to do too long. Oh, you fucker. Oh, fruit punch Capri Sun. I don't even know where the bell is. I guess it's in the other podcast studio.
Ding, ding, ding.
You asshole. Like what did I do to deserve that? There it is. There we go. A Capri Sun. That's gonna last me an hour.
Oh no, it'll last you 5 minutes.
I bet you I can down that quicker than 5 minutes. It's a plug for Capri Sun.
They're delicious.
Who markets Capri Sun? Who does these?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't have a clue. They don't. You know what? It's probably not safe because it's not written on there.
I've been drinking them since the early 90s.
Yeah. All right. So real quick, the election didn't turn out quite as we wanted it to in Columbia.
Not at all.
Yeah, in South Carolina, Judd Larkins lost.
Yep.
Matt Villardo lost. Carlo LaTrenta lost. Sidney Clinton lost. Ryan Thompson lost. Sarah Work lost. Daniel Duncan lost. Daniel Sharif lost. Joe Cunningham lost. It was a typical South Carolina election for a midterm.
Yeah, nothing changed. Everyone who's been there, the fat cats get fatter.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the things that I recognize in all of this, because I worked the poll on Tuesday, and while it was not the busiest election we've ever had, it was certainly the most difficult from a poll worker standpoint. The number of people who don't check their voter registration in time or before the election, the number of people that don't change their addresses, the number of people that don't even think to update their licenses, it is absurd. Also, I have to bitch about the fact that the DMV, apparently, if you go online to the DMV and you update your license, if you choose to, you don't have to receive a new license. So that that license that you have that you've updated in the DMV system has the incorrect address. If you've moved and you update it, so you show up at the polling place and it's like, here's my license. And it's like, okay, the address here doesn't match the address in the system. You know, did you move recently? Yes. Did you update your address? Yes. The address in the system's correct. The address on your license is wrong. We have to do a provisional ballot for that.
That doesn't seem right at all. Like, because when I moved, I had to go to the DMV and give them my old license and get mine.
So, but apparently you can do it online, retain your old license, and then be able to just use it. And the argument is, well, if the police officer takes your license, they pull it up, they're going to see the new address.
That's stupid.
I think that's ridiculously stupid, especially if when you update your information. I don't know if you're paying or not. This isn't something I've looked into, but it's extremely irritating.
You should. I mean, the DMV is already a pain, and go ahead and go to the damn DMV and just get your license done because you're representing incorrect information. Period.
I get the DMV is a pain in the neck. I totally understand that, but
the DMV here is not as bad as other places, from what I understand. Because there's most of the time, I would say over half the time I go to the DMV, even if there's a lot of people, I actually get in and out pretty dang quick.
Yeah.
So it's
And I don't know that I will say that there are enough DMV offices around the state or the city or whatever, but I definitely feel like there is the opportunity. You have ample amounts of time to do it, as well as like with elections and things. You know, if you go online and check your voter registration, you know where you're supposed to vote. I mean, it gives you all the information you need to know where you're supposed to vote. You can validate that your address is correct, your name is spelled correctly. You can do all that stuff, and then you can update it with the county. I just don't understand why people don't do that, because when it comes to election day, first of all, it delays the line. So now you're slowing everything down behind you. And then you have to come and talk to me, which I have to scrutinize. Okay, so your new address, is it actually in this district? Did you move out of this district? There's so many things that go into play, and it's just so frustrating because it's so simple to go on scvotes.gov and check that. It just doesn't make sense.
And that is slack on the part of the person who's coming to vote. Because if I can do it, people, you can do it. I'm telling you.
Zach has set the bar very low.
I am not the best with bureaucratic nonsense, but if I can do it, you can do it. And I did it. I mean, my God. That's annoying. You should be flogged for that. You come and your stuff's you're not representing correctly.
Yeah. I also have to acknowledge that voting is made much more simple when you do what you need to do as a responsible voter.
Yeah.
So, and to top that off, voting isn't easy anyway.
No.
The process of, if you haven't voted in the past, or you're listening to this and you're too young to vote and will register, while it seems simple to do, it isn't technically. There are things that we could do to simplify it. And we have the infrastructure to support online voting. We absolutely already have it.
Yeah.
Because you could log in with your private Social Security number, which nobody else should know. You can validate with your address, the current address in the voter registration system, and your birth date. So there's 2 verification factors right there that you could use. And then, you could just do it. But the argument I get from people is you can't have online voting because it's going to get you're going to have like outside countries and espionage and things like that come in and destroy. It could be the exact same thing, and at the you could have people that could mess that up. So it doesn't make sense to not advance technologically in the way that we vote. To just say that well, there's too much security risk.
Yeah, there has to be, if you can submit and file taxes and stuff online, and that's all protected information and stuff, like the voting should be done.
That to me is almost more important. People,
right.
that is my financial information.
Right. That is basically your thumbprint, and makes you the ability to be who you are.
Yeah. So some of the good news that we did get out of this election is that Democrats will retain the Senate.
Good.
And the potential is that now that because the Warnock Walker Senate seat is no longer contentious as far as having to have that seat in order to retain the Senate control.
Is it going to a runoff?
Yeah, they go to a runoff December 6th. So if you're in Georgia, fucking check your voter registration now.
It shouldn't have been a runoff.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been a runoff, first of all, because Warnock's ahead by like 30,000 votes already. Right. But Georgia has an automatic, they go to a runoff if nobody reached 50%, which, by the way, get the fuck rid of that.
That's stupid.
That is the dumbest thing. You have winners and losers. If you have more votes, you're a winner. If you have less votes, then if you have less votes, then you're Donald Trump. So
yeah.
But so in Georgia, it's going to go to a runoff, and as of today's recording, 11. What is today? The 13th. It's been such a long week.
It has.
Yeah, we didn't even record on Wednesday because, frankly, I don't know that I could have. I don't know that I was physically able to even like I worked that day, but my working requires me to just sit in a chair and lean back and just try and find comfort. But but Wednesday was rough. So as of today's recording, November 13th, which this will drop tomorrow, Warnock and Walker are going to go into a runoff race that'll be on December 6th. So congratulations, Georgia, because enough Democrats didn't turn out to bump him over 50%, which he's so close.
Yeah.
He is so close.
I don't remember any of these rules being in like elementary school.
A lot of states
classes.
don't have. Yeah. When you go to your U.S. civics class, you're like, oh, just remember Georgia's got runoffs
even
and
like
no
class president. Like, it was kind of close, and no one got over 50%. So you're like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, we're gonna all vote again. Like, what?
Yeah, you got to do it again. So next time we record, I'll have more information as far as like what's going to be required for Georgia, how early you can start voting, absentee voting, that sort of thing, mail-in ballots and such. So we'll have that by next week's episode. But I think one of the things that had an effect on the elections across the country is the overconfidence by Republicans that they were going to have this red wave, red tsunami, just bullshit,
bloodbath.
The red wedding of elections was coming.
Cocaine fueled jackass on Twitter.
And while I made the assumption that at least in South Carolina, more Republican voters wanted to be a part of that red wave, which nothing really changed. But they wanted to be a part of it so much, so that's why they turned out. Right. And because of that much information or that much, the decision that it was going to be a red wave, Democrats in South Carolina just didn't turn out. That for the most part, it was 1 in 3. Mm-hmm. So a third of Democrats voted in South Carolina, which is why we didn't see enough of the Democrats get elected. But I think because the Senate seat in Georgia is no longer going to be considered necessary for Republicans to be able to get control of the Senate, I feel like what that means is that maybe Republicans don't turn out as heavily for Walker. And I think ultimately I would have to assume that there are Republicans out there that are relieved that Walker is not the guy. Because,
he's a goof.
I've said it before. He is the poster child for what the NFL should have done with concussion therapy in the 80s.
Yeah,
because this is the effect.
Yeah,
and I don't know that he was that intelligent before. I mean, you're talking about a guy that didn't graduate college with a simple degree, even though he says he did. A guy that basically the University of Georgia boosters had to take and remove him from Georgia and move him to Texas because of allegations that criminal allegations in Georgia. So they moved him. He wasn't even smart enough not to commit, assault or attempted assault. I don't know. to me, Walker is just a weak candidate. And for the life of me, how he got, what, almost 2 million votes?
Because he was the Heisman winning running back for the Georgia Bulldogs.
I think it's the middle finger from the Republicans to the rest of the country and be like, look, we don't like the way things are going, so we're going to throw a monkey wrench into we're going to throw a wrench into it. Look, that's the expression. That's the expression. It's not my fault. It has nothing to do with his ethnicity. I swear to God, it does not. What else did I have? Polling. Why is polling at registered voting so wrong? I don't know why I wrote that down. Oh, I know. Okay. Oh, now I understand. These are, ladies and gentlemen, these are my notes, and
they're handwritten, and only Barrett can decipher them.
Yeah, yeah. Is that difficult to read?
They're just little and upside down for me.
Polling. So going into the election on Tuesday, we saw that polling was just Democrats held on to the Senate. There is the potential that because Democrats have now confirmed 216 seats, and there are still several seats that are open. Democrats have the potential that they could, by a very slim, possibly by one member, hold the power in the House as well. Which this is unprecedented. When you go into the first midterms of almost any president's term, so Biden's only 2 years in, you usually get wasted. I mean, right. The other party takes over the legislative power. That didn't happen.
Right.
And I think part of that is because the polling was just so off. And I say that because, and I know when I get telephone calls from pollers, I generally don't answer them unless like my phone actually says it's an individual's name and I don't recognize it. And then I go, okay, that's potentially a poller. So I'll go ahead and answer questions. But the questions from pollers aren't, are you voting for Democrat or Republican? Because the pollsters are actually calling you based on how you voted in the last primary. So if you voted in the Democratic primary, you're getting a phone call from the Democratic Party.
Right.
And they're not asking the questions about, do you support McMaster's or do you support Cunningham? They're asking very specific itemized questions that potentially push them towards more Democratic or more Republican. And then they're supposed to turn that data in. Towards the end of the actual campaigning before the election, there was some news coming out that there were several dumps of data into the polling information that was pushing it more Republican, that was potentially not accurate. And based on that, we actually saw those results. We saw the Democrats now retain the Senate, and potentially we'll have a 51-49 lead in the Senate if Warnock gets elected in December. And I think that one of the reasons for that is that when it comes to polling now, it's mostly to your cell phone data, or they're calling you on the phone. There's not a whole lot of pollsters. When I was growing up, they used to just stand outside the grocery store before an election, and there'd be 10 of them, and they would try and hit every single person coming out of the grocery store. So they would get, and it wasn't partisan. It wasn't, they weren't just hitting Republicans, they weren't just hitting Democrats. They were hitting everyone coming out. Mm-hmm. So the information was more accurate. Yeah. Also, the pollsters standing outside of the election sites, the precincts, I believe that at one point, and in some cases, you actually have some pollsters in locations, but my location didn't have a pollster. We didn't have anybody standing outside taking interviews. Trent unfortunately wasn't there.
Yeah, there wasn't no one there where I was either.
And I think that has, I just feel like polling has become very lazy.
It's not accurate in any degree. And from what, like when they come out with the polls, you're like, what the fuck? And like stuff.
Yeah. So I think that complaining about the polling isn't necessarily because it isn't just because we're not answering the phone when we don't recognize a number. I think it also has to do with the fact that the pollsters have actually become more lazy in this, and that makes it more difficult to get accurate polls. So I don't know.
All right.
I am definitely an advocate of let's go ahead and upgrade our voting system so that we can vote online. If you just get, there's a secure link, everybody does it. And I know the argument's going to be, well, if you're an older person, you don't know how to work your phone or technology or whatever,
right,
then there's the potential. I'm not saying we go to just electronic voting. I'm saying we go with that be a new offer.
Yeah, for sure.
Because ultimately, yes, I think polling locations still need to be open for people to be able to vote. But man, could you imagine not having to count a huge swath of votes because they're already in the system?
Yeah.
And you could actually begin seeing that data throughout the course of the day.
And you would absolutely get more people to vote.
Absolutely. I think that you would, because right now I think the midterm election in South Carolina saw something like a 42 to 50% like participation, which is high for a midterm. But I think you'd potentially see more like 60 to 70%.
Yeah, I was about to say about 70.
Besides that, I don't have anything else because
we'll discuss the Twitter wasteland.
Oh my goodness!
When Trent is with us.
Yes, yeah,
we were right.
Yeah, we were completely right on that. It has become nothing but a farce.
Yes,
and it's entertaining.
It is
because I think I saw a tweet from a verified Elon Musk account that said that he doesn't poop into toilets. that he actually uses them as like a dinner tray. He carries sinks into offices, so I suspect that somewhere in there, the toilet's got to be used for something else.
I'm pretty sure that he does the South Park thing, puts the food up his butt and poops out his mouth. Oh my God, it worked, you guys.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So Twitter has become the apocalyptic hellscape that the
people impersonating Nintendo.
The three of us, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
So
Nintendo became very offensive very quickly.
I saw one was Aaron Hernandez, and it said, "I'm back." I was like, oh my God. I was like, people have zero chill.
Just so you know, Aaron Hernandez was a running back for the Patriots.
Tight end
for the Patriots.
And Florida Gators.
And the Gators.
Urban Meyer's ilk.
Who got so involved in organized crime that he was arrested.
People.
Yeah, murdered people. As a New England Patriot, and was arrested and convicted and then put in prison where he then committed suicide. Yeah. But he's back.
He's back on Twitter. He's verified.
So it's got to be him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason anyone would ever pay $8 a month to be somebody else.
Bold prediction.
Uh-huh.
The check mark is just going to be, it's not going to be verified anymore.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have something else for verification.
This sucker pays $8 a month.
This is just like premium member. Yeah. And then you're going to have like a V in front of their name for verified. And he's like, so we had to verify people.
Yeah.
Because apparently it's the Wild West now.
Yeah. Yeah. I did see Sydney Clinton. She remarked on her Twitter that she is unable to change her name because of some of the verification issues that they're having. Also, real quick, and I promised this in the last episode. So on our Twitter, I asked anybody that wants to be shout out on the episode. And then that fell through because we did have at least one person that wanted to be shout out. So Problem Aaron and Chapin, you guys went to you may not have, but Chapin and Neek, I think, went to high school with her. Her name's Aaron. But
Hi, Aaron Problem.
Yeah. Problem Chapin Aaron. She was disappointed that we didn't shout her out in the last episode. So
there you are, shouting you out.
So Aaron, thank you for being loyal and listening. Also, just real quick, because this episode comes out on Monday, we did lose Keith Levine. If you don't know who he is, he's the founding member of the Clash, and that sucks.
It does suck.
I don't think the Clash was touring or anything, but it's another one of those. It's
a classic band.
That's I listened to the Clash throughout high school, and it was.
I'm pretty sure they played at that club in New York, HeBGB or whatever.
Yes, yeah. I'm sure he did. And
then we lost Kevin Conroy, who's the voice of Batman.
Yeah, that is and that one gives me goosebumps because to see the artists that drew Batman and now are drawing. Oh my gosh, it almost brings a tear to my eye. To see the artists drawing their memoriams
of him. Yeah,
I saw one that was Joker,
holding the cape.
Yeah, broke me.
Yeah.
So,
and he's the one you always think of when you hear, "I am the Knight.
Yeah.
I am vengeance. I am Batman."
Yeah.
That is like goosebumps. That's Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we lost Gallagher.
Yeah, that's another one. Gallagher, who had the Smash-O-Matic.
Yeah.
He died at I think he was 60s. No, he was in his 70s. I think.
Yeah,
1946 was when he was born.
Yeah.
Gallagher was just, and what's crazy, I just watched the Weird Al.
Yeah, I did too.
And Gallagher's in there. Gallagher, well, it's not Gallagher, it's a guy playing Gallagher.
Yeah.
Which if you haven't seen, do not expect the Weird Al movie.
It's Naked Gun slapstick stupid.
Yeah, and if you know anything about Weird Al, I think his dad was like the king of polka in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So like if you watch it, that's not a portrayal of his father at all.
It's like very working in the factory. What's so funny is like it's so slapstick. It's like, what do? You twist this thing and then you pull this lever when that light comes on, and then you just do it again. What do we make here?
Yeah.
Your dad said you were funny. He just walks off.
So that's going to do it for this shorts episode. I think we did that in record time.
Yeah, that's good.
It's good. All right, everybody. We appreciate you listening, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, because that drives our searches, and that gets people to more people to listen. So, also, last thing. I had a guy come out and do yard work for me this past week. His name is Terrence Mack, and I will give you information. He did a fantastic job on our yard, and look forward to having him come out in the summer and helping us out, because his trim lines are so perfect.
He's good.
Yeah, so good. So
Did
Terrence
he help
Mack,
bury the bodies that you were talking about?
3 of them, which is going to be problematic in the end, because ultimately we would have liked for all of them to have been done, but but his company is Yardigans, and his name's Terrence Mack, and just wanted to give him a shout out. No money exchanged in that. Just I appreciate the work he did. So
thank you, Nick the Geek, engineer and producer, owner and operator of GOT Sound Studio. Check out details on how you can utilize his talent and production expertise at gotsoundstudio.com. Thanks to Muff the Producer. Follow him on Instagram at Muff the Producer. Thanks to Shiana Rivers for the intro and outro. Follow her podcast, Who You Callin' Holistic, available on most of your podcast listening platforms. Thanks to Trent Clark, aka DJ Lonzo, currently serving as the house DJ at the main course in Columbia, South Carolina. Make sure to go by and have a good time. You can contact Trent for all your entertainment needs. Trent at theallaboutnothing.com, and on Instagram at TheRealDJLonzo, on Twitter at DJ Lonzo Top 5. You can also phone him 803-262-7982. If you enjoy the show, consider becoming a patron by visiting our website and clicking at the link at the top of the browser that will take you to our Patreon page. You can find details on how you become a supporter, or you can check out benefits there and just consider a donation so that we can continue to bring you this nonsense. We enjoy doing it. We enjoy you enjoying it. As always, you can follow us on Facebook. Just search for All About Nothing US, on Twitter and Instagram at AAN_pod, or you can find links to all of our social media and available podcast platforms by visiting theallaboutnothing.com. If you'd like to be heard on the show, you may call and leave us a message, 803-672-0533. If the time between these episodes is too far apart, you can fill that time by checking out some of our partner podcasts. Zach and I host What the Pod Was That with Carrie Simmons. Visit whatthepodwasthat.com for links and details. Carrie and Chrissy host Status Macabre. You can find details at statusmacabre.com. Ami Bland takes a deep dive down the rabbit hole in episodes of Welcome to Wonderland, available on all of your podcast listening platforms. As well, you should check out our own DJ Lonzo's Top 5, hosted by Trent Clark, available on most of your podcast listening platforms.
That'll do it for this week's episode of the All About Nothing Nothing podcast. We'll be back next week for a full episode where we'll probably go over more of the numbers, as well as the Twitter hellscape and all that. So everybody stay safe and
have a week.
This The All About Nothing podcast is recorded live from the Maddie Johnson podcast studio at GOT Sound Studio in Columbia, South Carolina. The All About Nothing podcast is produced and engineered by Nick the Geek, owner and operator of GOT Sound Studio. To support the show, please visit theallaboutnothing.com for links to social media, merchandise, and more. Become a patron of the show by following the Patreon link at the top of our page. The All About Nothing podcast is an entertainment product of Barrett Gruber. Special thanks to Zach King, Trent Clark, Muff the Producer, Nick the Geek, and you, our listeners. Please subscribe, rate, review, and share. If you're on YouTube, please hit the like button and the notification bell. Thank you for listening.